I never thought I'd be the one making that phone call. The one where you tell the doctor that yes, your father wants to proceed with medical assistance in dying. This is the story of Janice. She very kindly allowed us to tell her story so that millions of others worldwide will know the reality of assisted dying programs and understand the choices that face those left to grieve the loss of their loved one. What you're about to hear isn't just another debate about right or wrong. It's the raw, unfiltered truth about what happens when someone you love asks you to help them die with dignity and the complex emotions that follow long after they're gone. My father was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer on a Tuesday morning in March. The doctor's words hung in the air like smoke, suffocating and impossible to escape. 6 months, maybe less, he said. The pain would be unbearable toward the end. Dad looked at me across that sterile room and I saw something in his eyes I'd never seen before. Fear mixed with determination. Subscribe to the channel so we can bring you more stories like Janice's, and as a thank you, download this video's free guide from the link in the description below. 3 weeks later, Dad brought up assisted dying for the first time. We were sitting on his back porch watching the birds at his feeder when he said those words that would change everything. "I want to explore my options," he said quietly. "I want to die on my terms." The relief I felt in that moment surprised me. Not relief that he wanted to die, but relief that we could finally talk about the elephant in the room. The slow, agonizing decline we both knew was coming. But that relief was quickly replaced by a crushing weight of responsibility I wasn't prepared for. Here's what I wish someone had told me about the reality of assisted dying programs. First, the practical side that nobody talks about. The paperwork is extensive. There are multiple medical assessments, waiting periods, and psychological evaluations. In our province, the process took nearly 2 months from initial request to approval. 2 months of my father living in limbo, wondering if his request would be granted, if he'd still be mentally capable when the time came, if the cancer would take that choice away from him. The medical team was incredibly compassionate, but the bureaucracy felt cold and impersonal. Forms asking about his mental state, his reasons for choosing this path, his understanding of alternatives. Each appointment felt like a test my father had to pass to earn the right to die with dignity. I watched this proud, intelligent man having to justify his decision over and over again to strangers in white coats. But here's something that might surprise you. The process gave us time. Time to talk about things we'd never discussed. Time for him to share stories from his childhood I'd never heard. Time for me to tell him all the things I'd always assumed he knew, but had never actually said out loud. The waiting period that initially frustrated us became a strange gift. The emotional roller coaster was unlike anything I'd experienced. One day I'd feel proud of my father's courage and determination. The next, I'd be consumed by guilt, wondering if I was supposed to fight harder to change his mind. Was I giving up on him? Was I failing as a daughter? These thoughts would spiral in my mind at 3 a.m. when sleep refused to come. My relationship with my siblings became strained. My brother thought Dad was being selfish, that he should fight until the very end. My sister supported his choice but couldn't bring herself to be involved in the process. I became the point person by default, the one fielding calls from doctors, coordinating appointments, and bearing the weight of Dad's decision alongside him. The day itself was nothing like what I expected. I'd imagined something clinical and rushed, but it was peaceful. Dad was in his own bed, surrounded by family photos and his favourite books. The doctor explained each step, gave Dad multiple opportunities to change his mind, and waited patiently as we said our goodbyes. My father was calm, even joking with the doctor about the weather. His last words to me were thank you for walking this journey with me. He closed his eyes, took 3 deep breaths, and was gone. It was 2:47 in the afternoon on a Thursday. The sun was streaming through his bedroom window, and somewhere outside a dog was barking, life continuing on while ours had just fundamentally changed. The immediate aftermath brought unexpected challenges. Some family friends were supportive and understanding. Others were judgmental, suggesting we should have encouraged him to fight longer, that we'd taken the easy way out. These comments, however well-intentioned, cut deep during an already vulnerable time. The grief itself was complicated in ways I hadn't anticipated. There's a unique aspect to mourning someone who chose the timing of their death. Part of me felt grateful that Dad didn't suffer through months of agony. Another part wrestled with questions about whether we'd given up too soon. Had medical science failed him, or had we failed to explore every option? I found myself defending Dad's choice to people who questioned it, even as I sometimes questioned it myself. The weight of being his advocate continued even after he was gone. I became protective of his memory, his decision, and his right to autonomy over his own body. But there were profound gifts hidden within this difficult experience. My father died exactly as he wanted to. He was surrounded by love, free from pain, and maintained his dignity until the very end. He didn't waste away in a hospital bed, dependent on machines and medications that only prolonged suffering without extending meaningful life. The conversations we had during those final 2 months were deeper and more honest than we'd ever shared. He told me he was proud of the woman I'd become. He shared his hopes for my future and his fears about leaving us behind. We laughed together, cried together, and found peace with his decision together. The healthcare team's support extended beyond my father to our entire family. Social workers helped us navigate the emotional complexity. Grief counsellors prepared us for what to expect afterward. The palliative care nurse became like family, checking in on Dad's comfort and our well-being throughout the process. 6 months after Dad's death, I can say this with certainty, he made the right choice for himself. The man who raised me, who taught me to stand up for what I believe in and never back down from difficult decisions, stayed true to those values until his last breath. However, the experience taught me that assisted dying isn't a simple solution to complex problems. It requires tremendous courage from everyone involved. It demands honest conversations about values, beliefs, and what constitutes a life worth living. It forces families to confront mortality in ways that feel overwhelming and premature. For some families, this process brings unexpected unity and closure. For others, it creates lasting divisions and complicated grief. There's no predicting which way it will go, and there's no right or wrong way to feel about any of it. If you're facing similar decisions with a loved one, know that whatever you choose, someone will disagree. What matters is that you listen to your loved one's wishes, support them in their autonomy, and forgive yourself for not having all the answers. The reality of assisted dying programs is that they're neither the compassionate solution advocates claim, nor the dangerous slippery slope opponents fear. They're a medical option that some people need and others will never choose. They're a reflection of our evolving understanding of what it means to die with dignity in the modern world. My father's choice gave him power over his final chapter, when cancer had taken power over everything else. For that, despite all the complexity and pain that surrounded it, I will always be grateful. His courage taught me about love in its purest form, the kind that puts another person's well-being above your own comfort. Today, I still miss my father every single day. But I don't regret supporting his decision, and I know he died exactly as he wanted to, surrounded by love and free from suffering. Sometimes that's the most any of us can hope for.